Okay, so today we're going deep on something pretty heavy,
Yeah.
forgiveness.
Yeah.
And for this deep dive, we're actually just looking at one YouTube video called Forgiveness.
Okay.
It's from the channel Small Seed Videos. And you know what really got me about this video
Yeah.
was the creator talks about how they had these two conversations in one day with two different friends,
Right.
both struggling with holding on to unforgiveness.
Wow. In one day.
Yeah, just like back to back. And I thought,
Yeah.
wow, how many of us are, walking around
Mm.
with that same,
With that weight.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, that weight on our shoulders.
Yeah, for sure. And it's something that we don't I think we don't talk about enough.
Right.
And I think the video does a really good job of just kind of hitting on that point that it's
Yeah.
that holding on to unforgiveness is really hurting us more than it's hurting anyone else.
Right. So it's not about being the bigger person or anything like that.
Uh.
It's there's actually
It's well, I mean, yeah, there's something to that, but it's really about self-preservation in a lot of ways.
exactly.
It's like we're holding on to um all this anger, all this resentment, and we're just replaying the
Mm.
hurt over and over again. And that can really, it can manifest physically. It
What
can
does?
lead to stress, anxiety, all these
So
things.
there's actual science behind
Oh,
this.
absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, there have been tons of studies that show a pretty clear correlation between holding on to unforgiveness
Mhm.
and increased levels of stress hormones, higher rates of anxiety and depression. It can even disrupt your sleep,
Wow.
affect your relationships. It can really just make you feel worse overall.
That makes the phrase "letting go" that the video creator uses.
Mm-hmm.
That makes it feel so much more urgent.
Right.
But like, what does that even look like
Good.
to let go? Is it just about saying like, I forgive you, and then everything's magically better?
I wish it were that simple.
Right.
But I think it's definitely more complex than that.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing to understand is that forgiveness, it doesn't mean that we are condoning whatever action took place.
Right.
It's not about saying that what happened was okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's really about releasing ourselves from that emotional weight
yeah,
of
yeah.
the hurt. It's about acknowledging um, that what happened was wrong, but choosing to not let it
Mm-hmm.
define us or control our future.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I mean, that also just sounds like really hard.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
But it is possible, and it's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
So like, where do we even begin to even start to untangle those emotions and work towards letting go?
Yeah. Well, one thing that the video talks about that I thought was really powerful was this idea of cultivating empathy.
And that might sound kind of counterintuitive, like why would we
Right.
want to have empathy for someone who's hurt us?
Exactly.
But it's not about excusing their behavior.
Right.
It's about trying to understand it.
Hmm.
Trying to see things from their perspective,
Right.
even if we don't agree with their actions.
Okay.
Maybe they were hurting too. Maybe they were acting out of fear or insecurity.
Right.
And again, it doesn't excuse the behavior, but it can help us to soften our anger.
So it's about understanding, not necessarily agreeing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And then, another step that can be really helpful is trying to reframe the experience.
Okay. How do we do that?
Well, can we view it as a difficult lesson learned,
Mm-hmm.
an opportunity for growth?
Right.
Maybe it helped us set better boundaries or even gain a deeper understanding of ourselves.
I like that. Like finding the meaning in it, even if it's painful.
Yeah, exactly.
The video also touched on self-care.
Mhm.
How does that play into all of this?
I think self-care is actually a really crucial part of the forgiveness process.
Okay.
Because it takes a lot of emotional energy to forgive.
Right.
And we need to replenish ourselves, we need to
Mm-hmm.
take care of ourselves so that we have the strength to go through that process.
So what kind of self-care are we talking about?
Well, things like exercise, spending time in nature, meditation, creative outlets, anything that helps you to process your emotions and build resilience.
What I'm really taking away from this deep dive,
Yeah.
the forgiveness, it's not really about the other person.
Mm-hmm.
It's about us. It's about freeing ourselves.
I think that's a great takeaway.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that we deserve peace and giving ourselves permission to move forward.
I like that.
Yeah.
So, if you are struggling with this right now, if you are feeling that weight of unforgiveness, What's one tiny step that you can take today towards letting go?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Maybe journal about your feelings.
Yeah, journaling can be really helpful.
Or try like a guided meditation on forgiveness. Or even just acknowledge the burden that you've been carrying.
Yeah, sometimes just acknowledging it is a huge step.
Exactly. And remember, this is this is a journey. And every step counts, no matter how small.
Absolutely.
Even if it's just acknowledging that you've been carrying that weight, that's huge.
Yeah, it is. It's a big deal.
So yeah, just remember that.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
Okay. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Yeah, this was a good one.
Really insightful stuff.
Absolutely.
Until next time.
See you later.
Please click like and then subscribe. Also share this video with your friends. Thank you.